Okay, so why don't we get started? We're a minute past. We started at 12:15 because we want to give people enough time to get to the venue when it's in person, so we want to respect everybody's time. So let's start with our national anthem from Sistema. That's amazing. Now, Paul, you didn't cheer for Go North or whatever they say of the Winnipeg Jets. Anyways.
I've muted myself.
True North.
Because I was screaming so loud.
Toast to the King, and head of the Commonwealth. O'Neill Edwards, Director of Kiwanis Toronto Foundation, could you lead us in the objects of Kiwanis?
The objects of Kiwanis: to give primacy to the human and spiritual rather than to the material values of life, to encourage the daily lives of the Golden Rule in all human relationships, to promote the adoption and the application of higher social business and professional standards, to develop by precept and example a more intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship, to provide through Kiwanis Club a practical means to form endearing relationships, friendships, to render altruistic services, and to build better communities, to cooperate in creating and maintaining that sound public opinion and high idealism which make possible the increase of righteousness, justice, patriotism, and goodwill.
Thank you, O'Neill. And welcome to everyone. Good afternoon. We want to welcome you to our Kiwanis in the Community Grants Speaker Series. Today's lunch will be an informative session as we share more about our granting process and the opportunities available in 2023. We would like to welcome our facilitators for this information session, Liz Bozek, Chair of the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation Grants Committee, and her committee members, Alena, O'Neill, and Dan, who will be formally introduced later in the program. We also extend a warm welcome to our community partners and charitable organizations who have been helping us make an impact across the city. Your partnership has allowed us to participate in new and innovative projects and activities that have created an inclusive, collaborative, and diverse space. Our strategic vision this year continues to be focused on leadership and mentorship development, and our granting streams and service activities continue to align with these objectives. And if you want to learn more about what we do, please visit our website, www.torontokiwanis.ca. As we continue our speaker series, this is event number 2. In event number 2, you will see us welcome Heather O'Keefe from Stepstones for Youth, a 2022 Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation grant recipient. The team from Stepstones will share how the grant impacted their programming and the difference it made to the lives of the participants. Our club is growing, and we want to say welcome to our littlest Kiwanians, our members Roman Raskin, Stefan Shand, and Amit Amandeep Sota recently welcomed babies to their families, and so congratulations, and we cannot wait to meet them. We also wish to we wish to heartily welcome our visiting Kiwanis network. We salute our fellow Kiwanians, distinguished lieutenant governors, presidents, secretaries, treasurers, and members from across Canada, Toronto, Jamaica, the Bahamas, and the United States. Our service leadership program presidents and members, thank you for joining us. Time will not permit me to list all and recognize everybody by name, so I graciously ask you to place your club name and delegation in the chat so that you may be acknowledged by us. Again, welcome to everyone. And I'm going to pass the baton over to Happy Dollars. For Happy Dollars, Andrea Simpson leads us. She's the chair of the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation. Andrea?
Great, thanks, Tim. I just want to say how wonderful it is to see our community out today. I'm scrolling through the tiny boxes and seeing names and faces of organizations that we've funded before, organizations that we've done acts of service with before. So it's great to have you guys joining us today. Thank you. And for those of you that are on the line today and have never attended a Kiwanis event, one of our traditional acts during a Kiwanis lunch is called Happy Dollars. And this is an exercise that's done by every Kiwanis club when they meet for festivities together. So Happy Dollars is really just being able to pass over the virtual microphone to anyone who's joining us today to share a happy story that's occurring in their life. Often people celebrate birthdays or anniversaries, milestones, happy family stories. And what we do is we ask you to pledge $1 or $2 or any amount that you feel comfortable with. And we collect those funds so that we can use the proceeds during our Kiwanis Cares service acts. So the funds go to great use within the community, and you get to share the microphone for a couple of minutes. So I will ask if you have a Happy Dollar story to share. Carrie has now put us in full screen, so just wave your hand and I will call upon you to share a short story. Kiwanians are very long-winded. A short story. Denise is shaking her head. And yeah, tell us what's happening in your life, what's happy, and make a pledge towards our work in the community. Raise your hand if you'd like to go first. Carrie Ann, go ahead.
My happy dollar is that granting season has begun. I am severely biased to this process just because it really helps to engage not only our club members or grants committee, but the entire community in a way that really embodies the spirit of Kiwanis. So I am extremely happy about that. So my happy dollar for that is $10 plus another $10 that the Simpsons of Toronto are heading to Jamaica, and I may get bun and cheese, Miss Birdie bun and cheese on their return. So that is my other $10. So $20 in total. Thank you very much.
Okay, fabulous causes, both of them, Carrie. Thank you. All right, anybody else for Happy Dollars today? If you are not virtually in camera right now and you're on the phone joining us, just shout it out, okay? And we'll call upon you. I think I saw Tim's hand and then Liz. So we'll go to Tim first. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, this is a little self-serving, but I'm going to make a happy donation for $5 because I have a good friend of mine from grade 2, believe it or not, from Mrs. Tizard's class in Winnipeg, joining our call today, Paul Butler. It's been a very circuitous life we've lived, and we've just recently, in the last year, reconnected. So welcome, Paul, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim. I will add $5 to that.
All right, $10. There you go.
I will echo that.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you, Paul. We've never met, but I understand you are going to be joining a Kiwanis advisory committee to help us get more ingrained in the arts community. So thank you in advance for that. We're excited.
You're welcome.
All
I'm
right,
excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
We'll go to Liz next.
Well, it was my birthday a few weeks ago, so I am going to pledge $1 for every year, which will be 29 plus an undetermined amount to make the difference.
You're not 29, are you?
Well done.
25, maybe.
29 plus, okay?
Well done, Liz. And this, again, for those of you that are new on today, this is actually a practice just within our club, I think, really. Our immediate past president, Lori Lyle, put this challenge out to all Kiwanians when you come upon your birthday every year to pledge your birth amount. So many of us have been pledging in the, we'll say 30s, 40s, and some of you in your 50s. Over the past year, and those funds have helped us to do acts of service in the community. So it's great. Anybody else for today? I know we have a full agenda. Oh, Denise, we'll go to you. Go ahead.
You know how I love to give away money. So I would like to celebrate it being spring. We're in sort of the spring equinox at this moment. And also to recognize, as Carrie mentioned, Easter Bun, to recognize that we are also in, I believe it is the second day, or is it the first day of Ramadan? When does Ramadan begin? So just to celebrate the season of Ramadan that's starting today. Today is when Ramadan begins. So let's, I wanted to just give some support for that. There are a lot of our young people who are part of our BGCTK who are Muslim and who celebrate Ramadan. So what is it? Ramadan Mubarak to those who celebrate.
Fantastic, Denise. And what was your pledge amount for your celebrations today?
Let's do 10 for each. 10 for sunshine, 10 for Ramadan.
Oh, I thought you meant 10 for each day of Ramadan.
We'll work up to that.
I'm working up to it, Tim.
Fantastic. Okay, anybody else before we close out? Happy dollars?
So I'm out of money to pledge, sorry, but I see Ray online, and Ray and I have been communicating via email to attend a Kiwanis meeting for a while. So it's nice to see him online. Hopefully we'll see you in person on the 12th, but welcome, Ray. It's really great to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Carrie. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Okay, fantastic, Tim.
Hi,
I'll
there's
send
just one more, Denise.
Yep.
Hi, Denise from the New Beginning Support Program for Women and Children. And it's so interesting because I had given up on trying to connect with O'Neill Edwards when he used to be at Ryerson University. And I still have his emails. And I remember the last email I sent to you, O'Neill, was, I give up. We can't seem to connect. So it's interesting. It's a very small world.
Indeed. And you know what? It's surprising.
And $10.
You never know who is a Kiwanian. Kiwanians are everywhere. We are everywhere in the community. That's fantastic. And thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Okay, Tim, I'll pass it back to you.
Well, okay. And I'm going to pass the baton right away to distinguished President-elect Denese Gascho, who's going to introduce our guest speakers today. So over to you, Denise.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. It's wonderful. I'm incredibly happy for spring. I'd like to introduce the panel today. Let's start with Liz. Liz has been director of the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation Board and chair of the grant committee since 2020. She's a director of estate planning at BMO, and she teaches at the Lincoln Alexander School of Law. She's also working towards her master's in tax law. In her free time, Liz enjoys running, reading, and spending time with her 2 children. Alena is a leadership coach, speaker, and creator of the Empowered to Lead program, Her work is focused on helping organizations become better places to work by turning managers into high-performing leaders and tapping into innate employee strengths to create a culture of passion and full engagement. Alena joined Toronto Kiwanis in 2018, and since then she's joined the board of directors for the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation, as well as the Grants Committee, and she's also chair of our Kiwanis Cares Committee. Anil Edwards. Anil is an award-winning educator and nonprofit professional who has 2 decades of senior leadership as a global education administrator for nonprofits, secondary schools, and post-secondary institutions. During his over 20 dedicated years of leadership, Anil has been instrumental in guiding planning processes in supporting the development of innovative programs and services that promote access, diversity, and inclusion. Anil has had the privilege of living and working in many different countries and bringing unique insights to his work, building on a passion for developing people's potential. Anil continues to be part of programs that bring real social change. After his involvement with the Arts and Culture Grants process in 2021, Anil joined the Kiwanis Club of Toronto, and he immediately became a member of our Grants Committee. He will join the board of directors of the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation in October. Oh, I'm sorry, he joined the board of the foundation in October 2022. And finally, Dan Tessaro has been a member of the Toronto Kiwanis Club since 2018. And he's a director of the Toronto Kiwanis Club Foundation Board since 2019. He is a financial services lawyer at Bennett Jones, where he helps clients with debt financing transactions. In his free time, he enjoys weightlifting, reading, and taking culinary courses at George Brown College. Welcome, Liz, Alena, O'Neill, and Dan. Thank you so much for leading our discussion today.
Is there a video that's going to be played now, Carrie Ann, or should I move? Okay.
Yes, Liz, there's a video. I'm going to bring it up right now. Just a slight technical lag.
Thank you for that, Carrie Ann. So I think that was a lovely video showing all of the wonderful things that Kiwanis does. And now we're going to be talking a little bit more about my favorite thing that Kiwanis does, which is deploying funds into the community to deserving charities and nonprofit organizations for various projects. So my name's Liz. I'm the chair of the grant committee as part of the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation Board. And so I will be introducing and speaking a little bit about our speakers and also answering questions about the grant committee, grants process along with our committee members. So this year, as last year, our grants process, our grants are divided into two streams, one focusing on leadership and mentorship projects, and second being on arts and culture. We will also be offering a community impact award as we did last year. We will have a very short video in just a moment that highlights the granting process and various timelines that should answer some of the questions that some of you that are here representing charities might have. And then I will turn the mic over to Alena, O'Neill, and Dan. Also, before I forget, I wanted to say hello to everybody that is here from various charities and nonprofits. I see a lot of very familiar names and faces. We did meet some community members at our awards presentation last year in June. And it's really nice to see a lot of familiar faces and names, as well as charities that are hoping to receive grants this year. So the grant committee is a group that works together really to refine the granting process every year, getting the website up and running every year in time for the grant applications. But most importantly, we review in detail all of the applications that are submitted and choose the recipients each year. It's a difficult task, given that all the applicants are so deserving, but it's a role that everyone on the committee really enjoys and looks forward to every year. So I'm going to ask Carrie Ann to please play our video just describing the grant process and the timelines, which should answer some questions before I turn the microphone over to Alena to provide an overview of the leadership and mentorship grants.
Okay, so I guess I'll take the mic. Hi everyone, my name is Alena Sviderskaia, and I have been a member of Toronto Kiwanis for 4 years now, and I had the honor of being part of the grants committee for the last 2. And I'm always looking forward to this time of year, first because it's spring, of course, but also because it is granting season. And I'm so excited to be here today and share with you a little bit of behind the scenes of the leadership grants process. Of course, I may be biased, but I think the grants committee is such a rewarding place to be, being part of the group that gets to see, to talk to, and to support charities that are doing such amazing work for kids and youth in Toronto community, and building the leaders of the future is just a really fantastic place to be. Our committee is a very diverse and passionate group of people, and working on the grants is always a very collaborative process. We try our best to make the process as easy and as straightforward for the applicants year over year, and every year we're looking for innovative ways to get more charities to apply. And if you can only see how excited we get as a group to see the number of applications go up every year. And members of the committee are involved in all stages of the process, from the application process to selecting charities and communicating to charities. And I always find that having this diverse and passionate group so involved helps bring in different points of view and helps us make the application process better and better every year. So last year was a transitional year for us as we slowly emerged from the pandemic and we kind of started getting back to normal. We continued the work we had built over the previous years in supporting great leadership programs, and that focused on building resilient communities. And we continued the transition from the previous 2 years of providing grants for leadership and mentorship initiatives that help kids and youth build transferable skills such as decision-making, teamwork, goal setting, time management, community involvement, and get them inspired, most importantly, to become leaders in their communities as well. And what I personally find very exciting about this is that these kinds of programs create a powerful ripple effect that goes beyond the program itself. When kids are taught critical leadership skills, they model them through their behaviors, and they create a positive circle of influence around them that just keeps magnifying the impact. And I'm really excited that this year, we will continue supporting more great work in the leadership area. So what are some of the things that we were looking as a community that in applications that we received? So first of all, we look at the impact the programs have on kids. This is always at the top of mind for us. If I look back in past years, applicants, some programs focused on breadth of reach and impacting as many kids as possible, while others focused on few kids and depth of the experience. We welcome both. There's no one perfect way to do this, and each program has its benefits and impacts kids and youth in different ways. So we always consider both types of programs. Some recipients of our leadership and mentorship grants came from charities that impacted as little as 15 kids, while others provided services that impacted over 100 children. But the common element across all the recipients, if I look back at it, is that they tend to be small to medium-sized organizations, providing valuable services to their local communities, from camps and workshops to structured mentorship programs. There was also tremendous diversity in how the programs interacted with the community. We had recipients that had programs with widespread reach, as well as programs that had extensive depth. These programs built a foundation that allowed for previous programs participants to return as facilitators for new participants. And this is always exciting. We also had recipients who managed to combine both depth and reach, as I mentioned. We were especially excited to see applications that were not just looking at sponsoring existing programs, but we're also looking to use the funds to create new initiatives or taking existing ones to the next level and expand their impact. And what makes an application successful is clearly demonstrating the connection between the program and the impact it will make on the community in terms of the number of kids and youth impacted, for how long, and in what way, like helping specific number of kids stay active in connecting to others, for example, or connecting kids with the peers and mentors on a regular basis, or providing workshops in specific areas. So this really helps us as a community to make that connection and truly understanding the impact. And another common element of successful application is having updated, detailed, and accurate financial information. So if you can include that, that makes it easier for us as a community as well. Now, so if you have a program that can help kids and youth become leaders in their communities, this is a fantastic opportunity to get support from Kiwanis. And I personally am really looking forward to seeing all the initiatives that will be put forward by our applicants this year and learning how you will change your community. Liz, over to you.
Thanks, Alena. That was great. Now I'm going to pass the microphone to O'Neill, who will provide an overview of the arts and culture grants.
Sorry, had the mute situation on. Hopefully everyone is well wherever you are, and we're really appreciative of you taking the time of being here today and really understand the impact that your organizations have had. And I always say thank you to people, for all the big things that we know that you do, but really more thankful for the little things that nobody understands that you do that has an even larger impact. In 2021 was the inaugural year of the Arts and Culture Grants, and this grant was crafted as a response to the pandemic and the restrictions and the financial limitations that were being imposed on creative expression programming for children and youth. And I remember this personally as we were reaching out to different organizations, and it was just such a hard time, and it still is, right? Because it's a brave new world. the normalcy is different. The Arts and Culture Grant from the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Foundation will support initiatives that facilitate the creation of arts as a tool for the development of young minds and or coping with supporting mental health by children and youth in Toronto. These grants will fund programs that encourage young people to express themselves through creative endeavors. And we always know that the arts are always sort of shortchanged sometime out there. And so this has been a really, something that I truly believed in, and I know my colleagues do. And so we're looking forward to see what happens from this. Similar to the Mentorship and Leadership Development Grant, there was extensive variety among our recipients. These were programs that spanned the breadth of creative expressions. Last year was the first year that we used the Good Grants granting platform for the Arts and Culture Grants. And going through some of the applications last year, I'm still so impressed, and I know I'll be really impressed as we sort of move forward this second year. What we noticed was that the charities that had previously applied for our leadership and mentorship grants found success in the arts and culture grants last year. While charities are invited to submit an application to both streams, it is recommended that you submit an application to the stream where your organization can showcase itself the strongest. We know that all organizations that submit an application are supporting their communities in different ways, and this new grant stream allows us to support more organizations doing good work. We look forward to receiving your application this year and learning how you will change your community through the arts. Yay, arts.
I definitely agree with you, O'Neill. And so I will now pass the microphone to Dan, who will provide an overview of the Community Impact Award.
Thank you, Liz, and hi, everyone. My name is Dan Tessaro, and I've been a member of Toronto Kiwanis for 5 years, and I'll be explaining this year's Community Impact Award. Community Impact Award is an additional award of up to $40,000, which will be awarded to one of the winners of the Leadership and Mentorship Grants, or the Arts and Culture Grants. All applicants to Leadership and Mentorship Grants and the Arts and Culture Grants are encouraged to apply. The recipient of this award will be a charity which, in the opinion of our Grants Committee, will create the most significant impact on their organization and their community through new and innovative programming with funds received from this award. When our Grants Committee is reviewing applications for the Community Impact Award, we look at the applicant's potential impact on their community, but also the proposed program's feasibility. So you look at the program's budget and how the award will be used to fund costs like salary, operations, and equipment. Last year's recipient was the Stephen Leacock Foundation, which empowers historically marginalized and racialized children and youth in senior kindergarten to grade 12 in Toronto with enriched, fully subsidized literacy and leadership development programming. We specifically funded the Stephen Leacock Foundation's Take the Lead program. The Take the Lead program was already operational in 5 Toronto communities, and the Leacock Foundation needed the additional funds from the Community Impact Award to scale up their operations and launch in one new community, which was Thorncliffe Park. The Leacock Foundation knew how much adding one additional community to their programming would cost and were able to provide a detailed cost breakdown. One thing they identified was that the total budget of their project was slightly larger than the size of the award. So if your total budget is greater than the Community Impact Award size of $40,000, please let us know where the funds to fill the shortfall will come from. As a result of last year's Community Impact Award, kids at Stephen Leacock Foundation were able to develop their leadership, critical thinking, and communication skills and lead new community action programs. We hope your programs will have the same impact on your community and wish you good luck.
Thank you, Dan. And one thing that I'd like to mention is that really all applicants to both granting streams are really encouraged to apply for the Community Impact Award. Last year, we noticed that not everyone who submitted an application for either the Leadership Mentorship or for the Arts and Culture Grants also submitted an application for the Community Impact Award. So we really do encourage everyone who is submitting an application to one or both streams to to consider submitting an application for the Community Impact Award. And I just wanted to thank all of the speakers and really the points that were highlighted. I agree that, you know, these grants do a lot of good work for the community. And I do also think the arts are shortchanged, which is why I was very excited that we started offering the arts and culture grants. And I just wanted to highlight before I open it up for questions from the attendees here, O'Neill's point about applying to both streams. Everyone is, you know, of course, welcome to submit an application in either leadership, mentorship, or arts and culture, but it's recommended that, you know, just in terms of your own energies from your organization, to possibly focus on the stream that best aligns with your offering and the project that it is that you are suggesting the award be used for. We did notice, as O'Neill mentioned, that quite a few charities that had previously submitted applications for a leadership or mentorship grant from years past ended up finding success on the arts and culture side. And it was just because of the nature of their programming, and just thought we would highlight that as a tip for preparing your application. And with that, if you have any questions that haven't been answered from the video or from our presentation, what I would suggest is if you could raise the virtual hand, and then that way we can go in order of hands being raised, like in school, and answer whatever questions you have. And if you'd like to send a message in the chat to myself or to Carrie Ann, that would be great. Actually, just send it to me, because then I can just read it off off my screen. But Alena, I see your hand is up, and I'm sorry, if you could remind me what charity you're from, that would be great.
I'm the manager of development at Gilda's Club Greater Toronto, the cancer support organization.
Great, thank you.
Just a quick question. So I know your two streams are leadership and mentorship, and then arts and culture. But
Yes.
when you say, you know, it's best to apply to one stream, but then you can also apply to the Community Impact Award, those could be two different amounts you're applying for. But my question is, is it the same program you're applying for, or is one completely different?
Okay, so that's a great question. So the Community Impact Award is really meant to be used for an exceptional project, and it's envisioned that it is something beyond the regular programming. So if you think of the arts and culture and the leadership grants as, you know, providing for support for, I mean, it could be for additional programming or doing something new, but the Community Impact Award is, you know, we're looking to help you spur the organization forward to do something new and expand your reach into the community. And so again, you know, you're welcome to apply to both. It's just that from your own, you know, efforts, if your organization leans more towards one or the other in terms of the type of programming that you do, I mean, keep that in mind when you're putting the work forward in terms of preparing the application. But the Community Impact Award is open only to organizations that have applied to one or both of the other granting streams. So you can't submit a Community Impact Award application on its own.
Okay.
Okay. I hope I got everything for you.
I think you did. And it's also due at the same time, April 28th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's actually, so one thing before, Brittany, before I had to get to your question, one thing I just want to highlight is that the process for applying for the Community Impact Award on the website is a bit different than it was last year, because last year the Community Impact Award questions, for those charities that submitted an application last year, the Community Impact Awards questions were part of the singular application. So at the end of the Leadership Mentorship Grant application and at the end of the Arts and Culture Grant application, there were questions for the Community Impact Award if the charity chose to apply for it. However, this year, what we've done is it's a separate link. It's a separate application that has to be submitted. And so it was really for ease of reviewing the applications from our end at the end once we're doing that process. And so just wanted to highlight that. So it does look slightly different than last year. So don't forget to submit the new application for the Community Impact Award. All right, Brittany, I will turn to you now.
Thank you so much. Blessings to everyone. This is Brittany Habib from Girl Powered. Girl Powered is a gymnastics and a dance program that's really meant to build the self-esteem and the self-love for young girls who identify as Black. All of this information has been amazing. Liz, I just wanted to bounce off one more thing before I get to my real question. With that extra award that is possible this year, is it like an entirely new grant, meaning there's going to, it's a lengthy process to go ahead and do that as well? So it's a full grant to apply for it as well?
So in terms of the actual application, I mean, there is a slight amount of overlap just because of the way the software works. So you'd have to just re-enter the charity's name and contact information, but the actual questions, it's less questions than the questions on the leadership mentorship and the arts culture grant. So it is definitely not as time consuming.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, I think it's just a couple of questions that we ask about it. Really, wanting to know more about
three. I think it's three, Liz. If it's three.
Okay. About three. Okay. And then that one is, just to re-clarify, that would be for a completely different side project that can go with the organization.
Well, so I don't want it to seem as though you need to create a new project. It's so it could be used towards existing programming. It can also be used towards new and innovative programming. But what we want it to do is really be used for something that will just really expand the organization in some way, however you choose to define it.
Okay, perfect. That helped a lot. Thank you so much, Liz, for that. My real question now is just in regards to, I know that it is necessary to have a charity to be able to apply. I'm curious if the Kiwanis Club is at some point going to be open to, if you have a registered non-for-profit number, is that okay to apply on your own? That's a big tension that I'm working with right now. So I'd love to hear your opinion and where you guys are with that right now.
So Carrie Ann, I know we spoke about this the other day. Can I let you just answer that question?
Sure. So we do encourage persons, if you are a registered not-for-profit, you can use your trustee's charitable business number if there is an issue for that. I think amongst the committee, if you can get us your proper registration for your not-for-profit information, if you're having issues with a trustee for whatever reason, if you can provide us with that information included in your application, that should not be a barrier to your applying. But we just want to ensure that you are a registered charity or not-for-profit when we are deciding to award funds. Does that clarify anything, Brittany? Or
yeah, definitely it does. I just want to ensure, if I am applying as a registered non-for-profit organization, I have my number, that's not going to infringe me with getting the granting money or getting awarded.
No.
Okay.
No, it should not. Correct, Liz? Just making sure. I'm speaking on behalf of your committee here.
No, that was great.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Oh, so while I'm doing the application, because I have applied last year and I did have a trustee last year, but there's just some conflict happening right now. And as this is going to open up and I need to spend a good month working on this, I just want to ensure that how would I move forward? Do I speak with somebody and say, hey, I'm going to be moving forward with just my own number? You guys let me know the best way to go about this.
So Brittany, I think maybe we should just take it offline and have a side conversation, because it sounds like this is more of a situation that's specific to you, and maybe I think I need a little bit more information. And so why don't you send, if you send us an email, and then maybe we can just set up a time to have a quick chat over the course of the next week or so.
That is no problem, Liz. Can you please tell me what email I should email?
So Brittany, send it to mine, send it to the info@Toronto Kiwanis, and then I can loop in Liz if we need to have a quick Zoom or anything like that.
I'll do that now. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, I see Mel, your hand is up as well.
Yes, good. Yes, afternoon here. Good afternoon. I'm Mel Clark, the Kiwanis Insurance Fund chair for the EC&C district. I have two questions for you. I'm very interested in your grants and the way that you are doing it. Congratulations. But my question is, are the grants available outside of Canada, such like clubs in the Caribbean?
No, it's actually just limited to charities and not-for-profits that are located in Toronto. So one of the requirements in the application is to have a postal code that begins with the letter M. And so unfortunately, you'd have to move to cold, wet, and rainy Toronto to qualify for one of the grants, and Mel, unfortunately.
Okay, great. So it's Toronto Pacific.
Yes.
The other question is, you know that Kiwanis International has three good. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Kiwanis International has three global campaign for the Children's Fund. The first being health and nutrition, the second is education and literacy, and the third being youth leadership development. Listening to your presentations this morning, how would the health and nutrition portion be covered by your foundation? Because I heard art and culture, leadership, mentorship, and community impact awards.
So our grants are actually aligned with our club strategic focus. And so maybe I'll let Tim answer that question.
Yeah, so Mel, and thank you, Liz, and thank you, Mel, for coming. Past Governor Mel, I should use your title. And I appreciate your commentary. The answer is no, it doesn't. And what we're striving for is what's really necessary in Toronto right now. And yes, health is a big thing, and it is there are a number of organizations in Toronto that are focused on that as well. And so one of the our strategic alignment right now is on leadership and mentorship and arts. So
if I can
it may change in the future, but for this year and last year, those are the two.
And I'll just quickly add to this to close it out. All of the work that we do, it does still relate to our I plan, which we use from Kiwanis International. So investment, impact, the work that we're doing is relating to our strategic I plan right now.
And sorry, just to add one last thing, in terms of the grants themselves may not align directly with what's happening now, but we also do partner with organizations that deal with food insecurity. So one of our oldest legacy partners, BGC Toronto Kiwanis, is focused on programs that deal with food insecurity. Plus, we are a partner with Global Medic as well, who prioritizes food insecurity. So while food insecurity and health may not be a specific part of the granting stream, or activities throughout the year still do coincide with those objectives as well. I hope that kind of adds some clarity.
Okay, yes. One last question I have for you is that I know that the Toronto Foundation is a separate entity and it's operated on its own, has no relationship to the Kiwanis or the main Kiwanis International. But would your foundation, no, not the foundation, the club itself encourage its member and its community to seek grants from the Kiwanis Foundation, or you try to satisfy all of their needs?
So, so I think that, I mean, I appreciate the question, but I think that maybe Governor Mel, we can take this offline because we only have a couple more minutes, and there's a number of charities that would like to just to get more information about the grants that we're offering. So, but we're happy to carry on this conversation. You can just if you want to send me a direct message with your email address or to Carrie Ann, we can set up a time to chat.
Okay. Could you put that in the chat for me so that I would love to talk to you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Will do. Thank you. I see a hand up from, I don't know the name, but I see Central Ontario Leadership. And so I will pass the mic to you.
Hi, my name is Teresa. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, from Central Ontario Leadership Seminar. First, I want to thank you for the very informative session. I really like your presentations. We have to consider ours. So our organization has been running an annual 3-day leadership seminar for grade 10 students throughout Central Ontario since 1982, including, of course, students from Toronto. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the HOBie program. That's what it used to be called when I was sponsored by Kiwanis International many years ago. So it's a program that is supported by Kiwanis International. Now, the physical location of the seminar changes year to year. This year, the seminar will be in person at the University of Guelph. So while the seminar location is not in Toronto, our program does benefit youths from Toronto. However, I don't know where our postal code is. Does that exclude us from being considered?
Yeah, so the postal code that matters is like the mailing address for the organization. And so that is what we're looking for, not necessarily the location where the programming takes place. In past years, there have been leadership programs, taking students on camps and etc. So it's more about the organization itself and where it's located. I would suggest just, confirming where your office is.
We don't have an office. We're basically run by a group of volunteers every year. And the group of volunteers change year to year. I don't know if one of the board members would be physically, maybe they live actually, I do know that one of the board members actually the treasurer lives in Toronto. So would we be able to use his mailing address and then have a postal code that begins to them?
Sorry. So just so that I can quickly jump in here, it has to be wherever the organization files its taxes and the address that they put on their government issued taxes and all those sort of things. That's the postal code that needs to be used. Just because from a fiduciary duty in regards to the legality of everything, that's how we're going to sort of respond. So if your legal mailing address that you do any of your government things is in Toronto, then it's fine. If it's not, then it's a whole different situation.
Okay, so since I don't know the answer to that question, if it's not in Toronto, does that exclude us?
By what we're looking at, yes, it would.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alena?
Mine's just quick. I know you mentioned the due date April 28th, but because certain of our programs start and end in certain days, do you have a date to which they're going to be reviewed by? Like, I don't want to apply for something that's going to happen before you're even going to review the applications.
So that's a great question, Alena. And in terms of when we're aiming to get the applications completed by, I think we're looking to complete the review mid-May with And then with the intention is to have the recipients of the grants attend our year-end bash. It's June 1st. And so that is when we provide a very large novelty check. And it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit fundraiser, a little bit party, but it's a great opportunity to meet everyone. And so, I mean, in terms of specifics, in terms of funding, I mean, that is really what we're aiming towards.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Liz, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're at 1:15 now. We're full hour. Maybe we'll take one more question, and then if you have any further questions, then Carrie Ann her email address is info@torontokiwanis.com.
Okay.
.ca.
.ca. Sorry. Torontokiwanis.ca.
It's also in the chat, everyone, just in case.
It's in the chat. I think you have to scroll up a bit now. There've been a few messages since then, but it's definitely, I saw it pop up.
Does anyone have one last question that hasn't spoken already? Okay.
Okay.
Well, with that, go ahead.
Okay. Teresa, I think it was Teresa there.
Yeah.
Why don't you, if you can actually, if you have any other questions about your own specific situation, I'd suggest emailing Carrie Ann, and then we can connect to see if there's an opportunity for your organization to submit an application.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, and so with that, I'm going to let you know about our upcoming Kiwanis events. Details are also listed on our website at www.torontokiwanis.ca, not .com. The next grants event is, April 12th. This one will be in person, and our guest speaker will be, as noted here, Heather O'Keefe, and she's the executive director of Stepstones for Youth, who we've partnered with for a number of years, and we really appreciate the partnership. So again, that's in person. That's going to be at the National Club on 303 Bay Street, at the corner of Adelaide and Bay, essentially, and downtown Toronto. It starts at 12:15, goes till 1:15 or thereabouts. The next event that I want to highlight here is our Kiwanis Cocktails Royale, and that's June 1st, and that's where we're going to actually hand out the award recipient checks, novelty as they are. But it's a great event, and not one to be missed by, for sure. Live band, live entertainment, little charity casino going on, signature cocktails and such at the Balmy Beach Club. It's 360 lakefront. It's in the beach. And the Kiwanis events, just for the Kiwanians involved here, we have the Eastern Canada and Caribbean ECNC District Conventions, May 18th to May 21st. It looks like we have 10 of our members going in Quebec City. Next year's convention is in Kingston. No, not Kingston. Montego Bay. Montego Bay, Jamaica. So I guess we're doing a site visit this week. I like it. And then, of course, Kiwanis International Convention is June 22nd to 24th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They like to move the convention sites around the world in many cases, and this time it's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'd like to bring this meeting to close, and so I will adjourn the meeting, and thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate it. It's great to see some of the names and faces that we haven't seen in a long time. I'm going to say that we had 95 people on this call at one point, which is fantastic in this world of virtual, and thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. So again, thanks so much. Have a great afternoon and the rest of the week.